Okay, here we are, day 2 of the bratwurst. I just pulled the bratwurst out of the fridge. It's got a little ice on it here. The fridge is cold. The meat's pretty firm. We're going to stir this up here in a minute. I got Super Dave here with me to give me a hand. But that's just a quick look at the meat. We're going to stir it in. I'm going to sit this down here on the chair so I don't knock it over. Now also, I took my skins and I had to unknot them. And right now they're just sitting in here rehydrating in a thing of water. And you can see they are nothing but, let me get the end here. Okay, maybe I had the wrong end first. Look, it's a magic trick. Okay. So 2, 4, 6 feet already. 7, 8.
That's way more than a foot.
9, 10. I'm doing them by 2s. 11, 12 foot of bratwurst that one's going to be. So now I've got to skin this on this tube. Here's a side angle shot. I'm going to do a close up here in a second and I'll show you. That's going to take me a couple minutes per tube to get those tubes on there, but I want you to see that. What we're really going to do is once we get going, we get these tubes on there, I'll show you what we're doing. Dave's going to start loading from the top. Grab his pusher here, throw that up in there. We're just going to make them, spin them, and then we've got our big, my Sam's tote here, and we'll go from there. So let me get this thing ready and I'll start putting it on, and I'll have a zoomed in camera for you. Okay, now first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my intestines here, my skins. I'm going to take a peek at them. I want to try to start with my bigger end. This looks like my bigger end. This is kind of a pain. You've got to find where the tube is. See, right now it just looks like a shoestring. There it is. Alright. And I'll put a little water on it, put a little water on the tube. I'm going to kind of try to, I lost it. Just going to peel it back. There we are. And all I'm trying to do here is evenly skin this on here. Every time it tries to go sideways, and that's it. You just keep skinning it on there. Every time it tries to, see how it tries to walk off one side or the other, that's because the intestine turns. And this can slide back some. You just steer it by pulling that side a little more.
Can you use vegetable oil on doing that?
I guess you could. I'm sure somebody will comment and let us know. Now you don't want to use your nails or anything real hard. Again, this is really thin skin, and I'm sure that we're going to tear some. When we do, I'll show you what we do there, because I already know what's going to happen. But we're just going to just keep skinning it on there, and like I said, I probably got another 10 feet to go. That's probably only a couple feet I've got going there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to skin this all on there, and then we're going to start loading it with meat and kind of show you how we're doing it. Okay, so I'll get this process finished. I'm not going to sit there and make you watch me do this for the next 15 minutes. All right. Okay, 2 things have happened here already. This thing came with 2 tubes, and this one was kind of being a pain. These are smaller skins. So David mentioned, hey, maybe we just ought to use the other smaller skin. Okay, duh.
Tube, yeah.
Yeah. So the other thing that we did was, I'm trying to keep this keep that hydrated. The other thing we did was, that right there is only half of that skin I was trying to put on there, and I just said cut it. I mean, I didn't need a 12-foot sausage, so we're good there. So what we're going to start off with is just turn it on. Start pushing some meat down. Okay, I got that Dave's way. I want to get a little bit of meat coming out real quick before I tie this off. Otherwise, I end up with a big air bubble in here. All right, here we are. All right, now go ahead and shut it off. I'm just going to pull this meat back up there. We are there. I'm going to pull this little sucker right on out. Just tie a single knot in it. Alright, there it is. Skin it back down. You see it's trying to get air in there. Alright, reach back, flip it back on. And go with it. I'm going to support the sausage. I don't want them too tight because that'll bust the skin. Now, Dave's got the part where he's going to reload. I'm going to twist right here. I'm going to come back. And that's it. We're just going to keep going. If I want them fatter, I just hold them a little longer. Don't let them push through as quick.
Where you gonna burst it?
Yeah, that's one of the things that we were doing a while ago. Is a couple years ago, we haven't done bratwurst in a couple years, but we were letting the skins get too tight. The skin right here has some good pressure, but not too much. Because that's when they start breaking, and then you just lose that section. So you just let it do a nice push. I like to kind of keep all of my sausages kind of at the same height, the same distance. Then I got to twist all of these the same, or I'll untwist that one. Just pushing your pan off. There you go. And here's the other pusher too. So change that one. Let a little more of the air out. Here's your stopping point, twist. Now this meat is pretty cold, so it's kind of hard and solid feeling. I think this is harder than we usually had it. Pushing it off.
I'm pushing an air bubble.
Here. Put that aside and use that one.
This one works way better.
This big white one is the one that I bought aftermarket, and I like it for the grinding section, but apparently this little black one that came with it is better. It lets the air bubbles out. Twist. Now one year we had a real problem with air bubbles. My hand's probably in the way here. Air bubbles getting it up in their sausage. So we just wet a toothpick and slid it down beside it to give it a vent. That worked out okay. Try different things, see what works for you. when you're twisting, you want to make sure you're twisting the same direction you had the last one, this one down here, or it'll untwist. And you can see this part here is kind of a two-person deal. When you can do it by yourself, it's kind of a pain. Rehydrate my skin there a little bit. Hang on a second. I'm gonna shut it down a second. It's not coming through as good as we want it. I'm gonna back up, put it in reverse for a second. See, with it clearing that blade. Now I'll go back forward and see if it helps.
That's one thing about pork. There's a lot of fat in it, so
yeah,
it tends to load the blade up a little bit sometimes.
So now it sounds like it's running a lot better. Slide my skin down here a little bit, let it burp out.
See what I need to do is I gotta get down this section of skins. I'm gonna pull this top off, get that meat around the base of this. I think that's a good point for it to keep getting the vacuum in here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kind of meat gasket right there around it.
We're getting close to the end. I'm going to hold the skin up here a little bit. See if we can get a little fatter sausage going there. There we go. More push. We're getting close to the end of our skin here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Wrong way. All right, let's go ahead and stop there. Put that off. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this off. Actually, not. Yeah, that's a pretty good spot. Okay. Just going to put a single knot on this.
You see that? Oops.
There we go. We got a knot in that. Widen back out here. Okay, let me set this up here real quick. I'm going to move this meat over to this other tote real quick. Just so we can show you what we got. I'm going to throw this plate up there. I'm going to zero my scale based on the tray. Alright. Alright. Tilt this up here a little bit. Alright, now here's what we got. That is 2 pounds of bratwurst right there. All I'm going to do is just inspect them right here. I'm gonna, as I pull them up, okay, that one right there is not twisted real well. So I'll figure out which way it's twisting below. The rest of them look like they're twisted fairly well. And that's it. It's 2 pounds of bratwurst. So that's what you would use for chili or normally, or what would go to waste. So we try not to waste anything to save it up. Alright, so there's that. We'll keep going and we'll get back with you. Okay, the weir grinder was really wearing us out with that, getting these things done. They just weren't pushing through right. This is a bandsaw and grinder that we got from Atwood's a few years ago. We've never used the grinder section. We used the bandsaw section one time. It's kind of a lot of work to take everything down, sterilize it, do all that. And you got to do it before you clean, before you do all your butchering and after. The nice part was, I think we did 4 animals in 30 minutes. So it was really nice for that, but it takes 45 minutes to put it together and take it down. So we just ran a quick one through here with this grinder, and it's a much bigger auger, and the disc is much bigger. So we're going to go ahead and show you how we're doing this one, since we like to do failures and upside. Yeah, go ahead and go with it.
Much better.
In this one is turning much faster. I'll give you a shot here in a little bit once we get this whole one done. Show you this auger that's going to be turning.
It's a lot less effort too. Either mild torque is a higher fat content.
See with these, they're much larger Now we did go back to the larger spout, but you can see it's filling it much easier. We're not having to put as much effort into it. So we'll keep going and we'll get back with you in just a little bit. Alright, now on this one right here, we had a blowout over here. I just noticed it. I'm going to go ahead and twist this one off. It'll be alright. They're pretty stuffed. Probably because it's too much pressure. I need to probably feed this down. For the most part now, this machine is just blowing through this. But this isn't as hydrated as it was. And now instead of holding the skin back, I'm actually just kind of carrying the meat out, pulling it out. But you can see these are much bigger, much plumper looking bratwurst. Let me see if I can get a shot of this real quick. I'm going to pause and see if I can get a shot. Okay, there it is. You can see that auger is, if I can go in, I'm not sure if it'll focus. Yeah, you can see that auger is just spinning its ass off in there. If you look at the motor, you can see how fast it's spinning there. That'll give you an idea how fast this sucker's moving. And that's why this is going so much easier. Okay, me and Dave are playing with a couple of ideas. One is there's supposed to be a table on top of that bandsaw, and since the saw isn't on there, we just took that out of the equation. We'll move the meat up there, so it's out of the way. We verify that it will clear the wheel down in there with the belt. He can feed from up there, and then the chair that we had the meat sitting on a minute ago, we put my tote on that, so we're just going to keep running like that. And we'll keep going, but this is going a lot faster than it was. I'll get you some specs on this here and put it in the notes. Alright, we're coming up on the tail end of this. Let me show you something here. I call this one pulling to you. When you twist, you got to keep in mind that you got to remember to, every other sausage you have to twist in opposite direction, or you want to twist the one before it. This bandsaw table grinder is working a hell of a lot better than the tabletop. I don't think it's a fair match. I'm sure the motor on this is quite a bit bigger. So we did have some that got a serious air bubble in there. We got a little bit of air in this one, but not like that one. And all I did was I tried to twist the air out. There's a air bubble in the middle somewhere. That last casing that had the big air bubble in it, it was every bit of 12 foot long. So we'll just keep going with this, but I want to show you the twist. Now the last twist, I twisted it back. So on this one, I'll just twist forward, do it kind of quickly. 2 or 3 twists. That'll make the front twist even more. Since I twisted forward on that one, I'll twist backward on this next one. Yeah, this has gone a hell of a lot faster this way. One of the things we're going to look at is this deal here that Dave's dealing with, where you put the meat in. The other one we have has a tray, so you don't have to worry about spilling the meat. This is, yeah, this is more like a grinder. You just dump chunks of meat in there and it sucks it down. Yeah, we're going to have to do something. We're going to have to come up with a tray. I'm probably going to go on the manufacturer's website and see what they got. Here's what I would forget, which way I went. I'm going to go this way, backwards. So you can see, I mean, Dave's just barely putting any weight on it. It's just filling up here. That's it. This is what is it, 24.5 pounds of bratwurst looks like. Here's what it looks like when you go the wrong way. It's kind of crazy but it doesn't finish. Alright, I think Dave's gonna have to stop here in a minute. I got one more short skin we'll use. I'll go to kill it. Tie this one up.
Here, get this down here before I kill it.
want to do with this one here is I'm just going to pull it off. It's a short one. Just tie a real simple knot in it. Alright, Dave's got enough for one of my short ones down here. We'll try that out. We'll finish that out real quick and we'll show you what we got. Alright, you can see it's already pushing. Dave's not even pushing on it yet. So go ahead, Dave. That's just barely pushing. All I do is I tie a little knot in the end. When you first start out, you want to burp this first, get all the air out. But that's it. This should clean up this last one. And there's our entire tote. Down here on it. Now, something that we've been talking about was the recipe called for 20% fat. I don't think we had 20% fat. I'm going to have to go to my local grocery store and see if they can give me the leftover fat. I'll start freezing that up, saving that. Since we don't have probably the fat content that we wanted for this, what I'll probably have to do is we'll mark these for beer brats. And when you make beer brats, my son-in-law Scott, he basically takes Shinerbach beer, puts it in a big stock pot, gets it to boiling with some onions and some garlic, and just throws his brats in there, and that's how he cooks them. That's how he does the beer brats. I think that'll help out. That'll keep these moist, and they won't be so dry. We've made some before and they were a little dry. We probably should have made beer brats out of them. So that's it. We don't have much farther to go, and we will show you what it looks like here in a minute when it's all bagged up. Alright, here we are. We're done with the bratwurst. Got all the stuff, all the grinders kind of tore apart and soaking in the sink in some water. Now what we do, we divvy everything up so everybody kind of gets what they need. I typically take the bigger bags. This is 4.5 pounds, 3.75, 3.5, so on and so forth. Dave will take some of the smaller bags, the 2.5s. He's got a bunch of 2s, 2.5, yeah, 2 2s, 2 2.5s. So he'll take those. I'll take these. I kind of keep some of the smaller 1 pound and 1.5 pound bags around here. We've got some people that kind of get down on their luck. We like to help them out whenever we can. Plus a couple of single mothers and smaller families, that kind of stuff. Now what we used was the LEM Backwoods Bratwurst. Again, we mentioned it a couple of times, I think, that we did not have the fat content we needed. I'm going to try to get with my local grocery store and get some more fat, start saving that up so we can do that, and that'll also help our sausage go farther. So because of that, we have designated these as beer brats. And the reason is because when you boil them in the beer with the onions and garlic or whatever, it keeps them moist so they won't be dried out. Okay? Now, when we do, we put them in Ziploc bags, freezer bags. We push as much air out as we can. This is 1.5 pound beer brats and the date. That's very important that you write down what it is and the dates. Otherwise, you're going to start throwing out a bunch of meat because you're not going to know what it is. On the hog casings, I use the natural hog casings from LEM again. We did not use them all. So what I did was I just kind of strained a bunch of the water off, pulled them out, put them back in their original bag. There's still a bunch of salt in there. It's a Ziploc bag. I'm just going to press as much of the air out as possible, and I'm going to throw this back in the freezer so we don't waste these. These are a couple of bucks, so we don't want to waste anything. So that's it. I know I've got a birthday party later on this week. I'll probably take a 4.5 pound bag of beer brats, throw them in a pot, do those. Everybody will kind of get a kick out of that. Put the others in the freezer for later on in the year. Dave will take these for his family. He's got bigger boys but smaller numbers, so he'll take those, and then I'll put these away in the freezer for whoever else. Well, that's it. I'm gonna pull up some review stuff on some of the different equipment we've got, so I can list what's in what equipment we used, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, thanks a lot. See you again.